Yes, y'all, this is the second installment feature today of Loose Lips. I'm Ben Random, and we're going to be joined by very, very special. I'm looking forward to this one. Every time I've met Tris, that's who we're going to be speaking with, Tristan Da Cunha. Every time I've met, our chats have just been off the charts. Who knows where this is going to go? My boy just sent me. So we're about to get locked in. Let's see where this one goes, man. Yes, brother.
Easy, mate.
How are you?
No, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. I'm just sat in my living room at home. I got my little pooch here. I don't know whether you can see.
Oh yeah. Oh, what's happened to your pooch's neck?
She's called Kahlua for starters. She's not looking too happy, is she?
No, bless.
Bless her. She's got like a little. She's done something to her paw, and she keeps nibbling it. So we have to stick the cone on to stop her from nibbling it.
There's no worse than guilty eyes from your pet, is there?
I know. Look at her. She's cool though. She's actually taken it pretty well, to be honest. She's done all right. She's got a really gentle temperament, so she doesn't really make much fuss about anything, which is good.
My cat's just chilling there. I don't know if you can see. I'll bring her into it. She's just Sheila.
Yeah. What's your cat called?
Sheila.
Sheila. Meow.
Yeah, she's chilling at the minute. When the sun's out, she can chill, but usually she tries to be my co-host. She speaks more than me in it.
Excellent. 2 secs. Let me just go close the door a minute, man. It's all right. We've got some kitchen action going on.
Oh yeah. While he's doing that, I'm gonna get topped up on some proper 12. Connor, if you're watching, you'll be a guest on Loose Lips one day. Also, shout out to some people just while Trish is doing that. Shout out to people who are locked in. Gary 90, Akolis, Matt Zena, Molly, Bruno, Harvey, Robert James. Shout out Danny Matthews. Yep. Yeah, speaking of you later, brother. Chess Cool Booze, Andy Biased. Shout out Bobby. That's the man. You know that. DJ Matty Lynch. Yeah, shout out to everybody who's locked in. Shout out Ryan Paul for coming back through again, Viper Patrol. So, yes, brother, respect, mate. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, this is it now. Well, every time we've sort of come through and wanted to chat ourselves, I've always proposed to you that I think we'd be amazing on a podcast. And one of the reasons being is that we tend to cover a lot of wide ranges of subjects that just weaves its way. Like, for anybody who's watching, me and Tris sort of bumped into each other returning from Manchester, probably the week before lockdown actually came into full effect. And we were just sipping away on that tequila, yabbering for time, weren't we?
That's right,
proper putting the world to rights. So
we really were. God knows what they thought on the other seats, but we were blooming. We were going on about it. We were in proper like eyeball to eyeball kind of fierce political like debate there on the train about blooming 5 in the morning or something. You know, it's the last thing some people probably wanted to hear. Like, you know,
it was class, mate. It was class. But I mean, how are you sort of getting through this? Are you taking a bit? It's time to chill. Are you
yeah, I mean, you know, there's a silver lining in everything, isn't there, really? I mean, first of all, obviously, the initial hit was the financial destruction of everything, you know, all the gigs cancelled up until so far, it's until June so far, you know. So that's made things obviously a bit difficult. I don't have a ton of savings and things, and you know, I've been using those to kind of get through. I've applied to a few of the government sort of bursaries and things like universal credits and things like that. You know, I'm self-employed, so you know, when the work stopped out there, the money stopped coming in. So you know, I've had to you know, just use what I've got. And to be honest, I don't really need a lot anyway. I've got my little house, and you know, I've got my family, and I've got, you know, it doesn't take me much to cook some nice, tasty food, you know, and so, you know, I don't really need a ton of money at the moment anyway, really. So, yeah, it's not really a huge problem. There's things like, obviously, the whole mortgage holidays and things like that, which, you know, are helpful and take the pressure off and stuff. So that side of things has been good. on the plus side of things as well, you know, it's been a great time for me and my family to spend some time together. My daughter's absolutely loved having the forced time off school. It's like a dream come true. Imagine if we were young out, like 10 years old, 11 years old, and you were told school's out indefinitely. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just like it's not, dreams aren't even made of that, you know. You don't even get to dream of it. Like you think, oh, maybe like a week or two or something, but indefinitely. Gosh, I mean, so, but and then obviously the Mrs. Gracie, she's been, you know, really enjoying the time off at home as well. She has to get up early in the morning. She goes and works at the stables with horses, with children that, you know, are sort of come from sort of, you know, difficult backgrounds and things like that, or with mental health issues and stuff like that, you know. So she has sometimes quite a tough day, and, you know, it's very physical, and she's outside, and in the winter it can be a little bit harsh, but now she's been in the garden all day today, just doing the gardening and pottering around, buying bits of paint, and you know, we've been cleaning out the attic and the basement and doing a load of jobs that have needed to be done for ages. And then on top of that as well, I've also just had loads of time to go make music and things like that as well. So that's been really nice. And not that I don't normally have that time anyway. For me personally, it's not been much different because I work from home. I have most of my time to myself.
Have you been feeling inspired?
Yeah, I mean, totally.
I know that's
to be honest, I'm never short of inspiration.
Sorry, I know that was a bit of a cliche question, but I was going to follow it up. Have you been inspired, but at the same time, have you been mainly inspired by what's going on? Do you know, has it maybe had an impact on the style that you're creating?
There's been a little bit of an edge about it, you know, in terms of like, you know, I mean, I always find like through the tough times comes some of the best art, you know. Generally, I'm speaking there, not just for me. You know, if you look at all the, you know, the hardships that have occurred throughout, you know, our existence, there's always been some really amazing art that's come out of it. You know,
well, even music side, you've got punk, you've got disco,
yeah,
you've got hip hop. It was all like
house for the Thatcherism sort of thing.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, exactly.
Needed that then, you know. And for a while, I think that I mean, without going too much off the path here, but for a while, I think the music just got a bit bland, a bit boring. Nobody had anything to say because there was nothing really going on in the world, and everybody was really comfortable, all really cozy, everything convenient, everything really sort of at the click of a button, and nothing really to shout about. And the most people were shouting about was just armchair trolls back home in the internet. You know, it's sort of you know, seemed to take away any real sort of teenage, you know, sort of angst or rebellion, or there wasn't really much of that going on. But I don't know, now it just seems like there's a little bit more pressure, a little bit more sort of stuff to sort of shout about. I don't know, we'll see. But I mean, for me, definitely, there's, you know, writing some of my, you know, more electro kind of music and stuff, you know, thinking more about this sort of apocalyptic kind of, you know, scenario kind of really leaks and seeps into the music a little bit, you know.
I'm really looking forward to the aftermath, mainly because I think that what this has done in looking at a positive from it has really revealed that it doesn't care about stature, race, gender, none of that. We're all in the same boat and we'll all get through it together and we'll come through it together. And I'm really looking forward to the sort of parties and the camaraderie and the chilling afterwards. So when we are out of this, what do you think your first song would be that you'd play? You know, I think it's quite a monumental moment, isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a huge question. I don't know. Gosh, um, I don't know. I can't really answer that. To be honest, it'll be something fucking good that would boot right off. But you know, flicking through my blooming like library now in my head, it just boggles my mind. So I couldn't really answer that. But I mean, I think it's going to take a little bit of a while for people to get back to normal because this has been such an abnormal thing to go through.
Do you think?
You
Do you
know,
not think
for
it's going to be
society to be
major?
so separated, for people to be like sidelining on the sidewalks and stuff. You know, I think generally, I think for the youth, they'll all just be like, rah, straight back into it. But I think some of the older generations will have to sort of readapt, you know.
Do you think?
I think a little bit, yeah.
Nah,
I
bro,
don't know,
come on. Everybody is going to be, it'll be like a start of a 100-meter race. There'll be some
yeah,
false starts.
yeah,
Everyone like will be just pegging out, bro. Everyone will be out. It'll be out, mate. It'll be the summer. It'll be the beyond the summer of love. It'll be the summer of bliss.
Yeah,
I might even be able to pull.
I like your enthusiasm. I'm up for all of that. I'm definitely up for that for sure. And I hope you know. I mean, you know, I do actually have little dreams about the kind of booting off that's going to go on
Exactly.
when we're all let out the cage again. You know. But like you say, I mean, I'm really optimistic and positive about everything that's going to come out of it. I think it has highlighted a lot of important things and shone a light on a lot of stuff that isn't really important, you know, and stuff that we get caught up in day to day. You know, obviously, it's not been easy for a lot of people. I mean, I feel really lucky because I've actually really enjoying the time, but there's a lot of people out there that actually aren't enjoying the time alone. They haven't got the friends or the, you know, the kind of connections or whatever just to be calling up, or they might have some mental health issues, or they might, you know, just feel a bit isolated, which is not a nice feeling, really, to be honest. You know, we're isolated now, but we're still chatting to each other. I've still got my family in the room there. I've got all my music. I've got hobbies. I've got interests, you know, so I'm like kind of got plenty of stuff to get stuck into, you know. Being forced to be isolated is actually quite nice, to be honest.
It's really made me be a bit more productive. I'm quite protective in what I put out. You know, the aesthetics of it's really key to me, and the sound of it. And I feel like a lot of what I've created in the past, sometimes it's been let down. The quality's been let down by it. But something like this, it just makes me feel more get on with it, put it out there. You know, these chats like this, I like the rawness of it, the
Yeah, it's just nice.
of it.
People could just tap into it as well. So somebody like might actually be out there a bit bored or a bit lonely or whatever, and they can kind of eavesdrop on a conversation that might be really interesting to them, and they might actually pick up something that makes them think, yeah, shit's okay, or this is great, or oh yeah, I'm going to check that out, or I'm going to investigate this, or I'm going to start a new hobby, or I'm going to do, you know, might just inspire something that just, you know, sparks a little bit of happiness, you know. So if it's in that respect, then it's all worth it.
I want to give a shout out to Danny Mottram, who's just left a message in the comments. He's saying you should play the Fuck Off track as your first one. Absolute banger.
Maybe I should do that as well. Maybe the message is right there as well for because that's why we called it that. I mean, some people see like the Fuck Off track. It wasn't a thing of kind of any arrogance or anything like that. It was basically, you know, when we were making it, we were like that. Fuck off. And we just used that as a working title. So. And it just stuck as that. It was just, and I think it actually really worked, you know, for like a kind of like debut track, inaugurating ourselves to the world. Dungeon Meat, the Fuck Off track. It's like the who, the what, the this, the this, you know. So it kind of really caught attention and did the job really. But and I always like sort of, you know, imagine people going up to the booth going, what's this track? It's like, oh, the Fuck Off track. People going, oh, all right, you know. But so we were just being playful with it really. But yeah, I mean that track, you know, it's had some really good echoes and ripples, so I'm pleased about that.
Shout out to Chris Fountain, who was the first guest this morning on Loose Lips, and he's just put the Fuck Off track is a monster, and he says more Dungeon Meat, please.
We've got some more coming. It's just been difficult because Sammy's moved to Lisbon in Portugal. We've both just really kind of dived into our own stuff as well, solo stuff. So we have got tracks made and bits and bobs done, but they're just not finished. They just need a few little extra touches. We've got more releases from other artists coming on the label. We've got a bit of a backlog at the moment. So now's not obviously the best time to be releasing music really, because obviously most of the DJs and the people that we kind of sell the records to haven't really got the money or the gigs. So, you know, I mean, I know personally I haven't been buying any records. I've just been focusing a lot more on music production. So, you know, it's yeah, it's coming basically, Chris. Yeah, we've got plenty of meaty beats for you and some good stuff as well. Some original Dungeon Meat material. We've got a massive tune by Locklead, which has been one of the most asked about tracks that I've played in the last year. Every time I play it out, people are always Instagramming me or Facebooking me afterwards going, what's this tune? So really excited about getting that one out. We've got some more sort of various artist EPs and some other exciting stuff as well. So keep your ears to the ground.
It's interesting you say the working title, because I've always wondered when Dave Taylor were Solid Groove and he was making This Is Sick. I was just like, it is, at that time, it was the sickest tune. I was just wondering if it was like, every bit he did was like, this is sick. Like
Well, it says that in the tune, doesn't it? It says
yeah,
it in the tune. It goes, this is sick.
yeah, the last says it, but
But
that's
it
what I mean.
was,
So like,
wasn't it? It was a nasty little piece of work, that
that's
one.
a tune that
It
needs
is. I
to be
mean,
dusted off.
he was great, actually, Dave Taylor. I mean, he still is. I don't know where he's gone now. I used
He's
to
gone
knock
Hollywood,
around.
you know. He's
What's
producing for
that?
some biggest artists.
I know exactly that. I know, but where he's living or where? I mean, probably in LA somewhere or something. I know he moved over to the States and he started producing Britney Spears,
Yeah, man, and
working
Rihanna.
with Diplo,
Yeah.
people like that. And he's probably working with other major artists somewhere. I mean, he was just so talented. I used to knock around with him quite a bit. Him and Jesse Rose. I used to go down to London, stay at Trellick Towers down there, and Dave Taylor was always sort of knocking around, a bit of a sort of a cooligan, you know. Always had his Ralph Lauren shirt on, his shaved head, his sun. His sunstroke face, you know what I mean? He was always really red from the sun, and yeah, he was a geezer, and he obviously still is. And his music was really influential on a lot of people, myself included, around that time. And he was he was just killing it. There was just nobody else kind of doing it like he did it. And the funny thing was he was just doing it mostly on his laptop as well. So
Wow.
you know, he just was just a master using Logic and carved out a lot of those hits.
Yeah, some of them
Laptop.
tunes like really sum up the time, like the Future Edge remix, and some of them tunes around that time. He really invented that like reverby wonk. Like he was phenomenal producer
Well,
of that era.
when it started getting called Fidget House is when it started getting a bit shit, but that's what it was. It was all that kind of fidgety.
Yeah, we called it New School Jacking.
Yeah, New School Jacking, I suppose. You know, you can get away with calling it that if you want. They really, I mean, it was totally. I mean, you know, those guys used to. I mean, Dave wasn't really so much of a DJ. Jesse Rose was more the DJ. He was a really good DJ.
Yeah, he did a tune A-sided, which were on Tim Sheridan put
Subsided
on
with,
Nasty
yeah,
Dirty Sex Music. That's my favourite compilation of all time.
yeah. So I mean, that was another that label of Dave Taylor's as well. Was the dub-sided records, and there was some great stuff on there as well. So yeah. I mean, I can't remember how we got onto that, but
Your Alias, Dungeon Meat, and the tune and the sort of names like
we're
that.
talking about the working titles, yeah. So I mean, yeah, and that's it. I mean, I have like a list of stuff on my phone called just names for shit, and I'm always thinking of names for stuff, you know, and that can really help me like pick a theme as well. I think when you're creating something, it's always nice to have a little theme or a little something to hook onto to give you a starting point, you know.
Do you, as a creative, especially with the music side, do you get an idea and you know which alias or which strand of alias it's going to, or
Yeah,
do you
I
wait
mean,
till it
usually
further
you know,
progresses?
there's a vibe would fit a certain alias, certain sound would fit a certain alias. Um, but I don't really think about that at the time. I mean, sometimes I do. I sit down with my Freakenstein head on, or I sit down with my Dungeon Meat head on, or my TDC head on, or whatever, or just another head, you know, just something else different. You know, I've got other ideas and things that I'm bubbling on as well at the moment. So yeah, but yeah, I do that. That's one of the things that I like doing is thinking of concepts, ideas, vibes, and then matching that to something that really sort of anchors that and brings it home. So a lot of the Dungeon Meat sounds like it looks. Do you know what I mean? So it's very important for me to have the music to have that kind of aesthetic to it as well, you know?
Do you feel that do you have to go through a certain process? Maybe there's music that you'll listen to beforehand or books, or is there a different, or do you literally like, right, today I'm focusing on this and we're going to do that? How do you sort of, I wonder if there's a maneuver that you shift into a certain
Well, I've got a
style.
whiteboard in my studio. I've just got a new studio now, which has been a godsend around this self-isolation sort of scenario, because it's meant that I can go there and not beat the house down with 140 BPM electro grooves or whatever constantly, and the family just going So it's just like 10 minutes walk down the road. So it's a little bit of exercise. I can ride the bike, I go down there. And in the studio, I've got a whiteboard, and that is that's getting pretty long now. I've got like, you know, a side of it which is like projects, and then I've got another side of the whiteboard which is remixes, and then at the bottom of that I've got like just a blank square where I'll pull one or two of these things from one of the sides, and I'll put it in the bottom box, and I'll make sure that I'll just focus on those two things instead of looking at the list going,
Yeah, yeah.
got too much stuff, or I don't know where to start, or whatever. I'll just try and take it's nice seeing everything there, seeing everything you've got, and being able to, I mean, first of all, feel pleased you've got so much stuff to do. You know, look at the remixes, like, wow, that's fucking great. There's so many great remixes there that I'm going to be doing, and then all the other projects like DJ mixes and you know, albums and little other things that I've planned in my head that I want to execute. You know, so it's good for that, to get excited about stuff, but it's also good to kind of see things clearly instead of, because I was a real list writer. Do you know what I mean? I love a list.
Was that in your phone as well, on your notes, or physically writing?
I actually like physically writing, actually. So, but the problem with that is they get lost, you know, or they get covered up by another list on top or something, and then it's just like, you know, you've really got to have some kind of discipline, which I don't have.
Discipline's the key. You know, that's a real strong word that's come out in the chats that I've been doing. A lot of it has been optimism, but a lot of people have mentioned discipline.
Yeah, I mean, discipline, you know, and systems, you know, they can kind of, you know, give you a real good framework to live your life by, you know.
No, I agree.
And I think that's important. Otherwise, there's so much kind of it's like pecking at your bandwidth on a daily basis, you know, like whether it's friends or whether it's the internet or whether it's the television or whether it's a phone call or whether it's just something. It's always just, you've only got so much kind of, you know, like I say, bandwidth up there. So having disciplines and having systems and things like that to, you know, build your day around or your week around and stuff can really help you get more out of it, you know. So for me, having lists and having things can really help me focus, because my head's just like a box of frogs sometimes, you know. It's just like, if I looked at that list, it'd be like, oh, I'd be shooting off like fireworks, you know, just going off in different directions. So I definitely need to kind of pull myself in and focus on a few things and at once. And it's nice having not just one thing, having a couple of things as well. So you can, if you get a bit bored or if you run out of steam on something, you can switch to something else, you know, and not get, you know, sort of drifting downstream, you know, being caught up with something else that's not really going to get much out of your day. I mean, you know,
what I really
it's not time count for me, really. That's my most important thing as well, is trying to, you know, make days count, trying to get stuff done. And it's not easy, you know, not every day that I come away thinking, yes, I've nailed that one, you know, but, you know, you try.
What's really amazing is when you're describing that, it's almost like, I imagine you've got you like Minority Report. It's like pulling everything through. You know what I mean? Just like selecting.
This is it. You have to have some kind of little system and stuff. But I mean, I've still got so much to learn as well. So a lot of the process that I do creatively it feels like learning a lot, which is good, which is great and exciting, but also can be frustrating sometimes because you can feel like you're banging your head against the wall. But you have to just keep reminding yourself that, you know, you are making progress no matter what. You know, having the discipline is about showing up each day, whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. That's all part of like flexing those muscles, is making sure you do it every day. And then that's when you can start to see some progress in the long run. You know, you might not see it by day 3, but by day 28, you're going to start to be in a better flow, you know.
Yeah, the flow, and it feels more natural.
Shout out to Billy. Sorry, hey Billy, he's just joined the chat there. Billy Bayliss in Birmingham. Hi Billy, you're right, brother.
But yeah, the consistency and the flow then develops, and then before you know it, it's part of your arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Things don't happen overnight. You know, you do have to like really, you know, just graft away at it, you know. Nobody's great at anything straight away. You have to, you know, you have to really kind of put the work in, you know, like the 10,000 hours sort of thing, you know, even though you don't have to do 10,000 hours to be great at something. They say that that's the mastery level, but, you know, it certainly helps. But I mean, not everybody's got the time, but I mean, that's one of the biggest excuses. Well, I haven't got the time, but like I say, it just only has to be 10, 20 minutes a day, whether it's if you're perfecting a craft or learning a new skill or, you know, working on a piece of art or a piece of something, you know, whether it's a patchwork quilt or something, you know.
I feel that people need to be a bit used to just being shit at stuff at the start and embrace the shitness, because then you know you're going to get better. That's what
What's
I
that?
feel.
Sorry, Ben.
I think that as a society, we should get used to being shit at the start. We should enjoy being shit, because then when you develop, you can see how you've grown and you've got better at it. Whereas I think people go in at it expecting to be at somewhere, get a bit disheartened at being a bit naff at it at the start,
Yeah,
and then that throws them off.
I think we just got a little bit more impatient as a species nowadays. Do you know
Do you
what I
know
mean?
what I put that down to? I think that, and this is why I love our chats, because now it's going to go a bit deep. But you know, like when you watch like BBC News, and it's always this thing at the bottom going through, and I think we're in a system and a life now where everything seems to just go so quick because of the scenarios of certain TV shows, or for example, when people are watching something, they'll probably give it 30 seconds, if not 10 seconds of the time, or their attention, they'll be watching something, and I do it, you're watching something, but you're on your phone, and there's music on in the background, and, you know, there's not really one self-aligning, like, focus at that time, because we've got so many distractions at the hand, and I think that when you go to develop something, you have, like, an idea of how you might approach it and be at it, and when it doesn't materialise like that from the off, then I think people get disheartened, but I think
Yeah,
going
they
to
do.
it, knowing that we're a bit shit at stuff, then we can almost laugh at it, but we're doing it because we love it, and then it'll become a passion, and then we'll get better at it.
That's it. I mean, just taking that a bit more approach of a bit more lightheartedness, I think, is the way to do things for sure. You know, not everybody's going to be a Shaolin master, you know, after the first night of trying something, you know. So yeah, it does take, everything takes a bit of time and a bit of patience, and I think that's what I was getting at before, was nobody's really got a lot of patience these days. You know, you know, I think patience runs a bit thinner than it used to, because everybody's, you know, if you get a spinning wheel on your phone or you get a spinning wheel on your laptop or something, you're like, come on, you know, everybody wants everything kind of like that now, you know. So I think that kind of, you know, in the long run makes people a little bit less patient about sort of processes, you know. Things take some time, and you got to let life catch up with you sometimes. You might have the thought up in here, or you want to manifest something, but you've got to let, you know, the real world catch up with that sometimes.
Do you feel with the learning, I know we were speaking, and you're going to be doing something or going back to do something in September. Do you want to speak about that? You know,
What's that?
What you'll be doing in September to sort of better your craft? Is that
What
allowed to be revealed?
what am I doing in September? I can't remember.
Like evenings?
Evenings. I can't remember what I was doing.
Uh,
Evenings.
uh,
Were we talking about this?
yeah, on train. Yeah, I don't know if it's like I don't want to like reveal it if it's not to be revealed, but
I
something
can't.
that'll help you along the lines with your production.
I can't think, mate. I can't think now. But maybe not say, because
All right, all right,
I
cool.
don't want to reveal. But I'm just trying to think what I'm going to be doing. I mean, apart from what I'm already doing, which is just working my ass off with my head down, I can't think. But was there maybe some classes or something? Or
Yeah.
well, I did do some classes at the College of Music,
Mm.
which were amazing actually. Anybody who thinks that they're too old to go to school or to go and learn, then I highly recommend that you reassess that whole thing, because going to the College of Music was really refreshing actually, and it was a really amazing experience. I went and did a advanced music production, mixing and mastering course at the Leeds College of Music, and it was only £130 to go and do the course for a 10-week course, and it was just great. It was amazing, and it made me realise that every year I want to be doing something to to kind of further myself, to better myself, to widen my skill set, and you know, especially this time as well when all this stuff's kind of happened as well. It's made me want to learn some of the skills as well, you know. So I'm not just kind of limited to, you know, music and stuff like that, you know. Yeah.
That was it.
So
That was
yeah.
it. I didn't know if it was again you were going to be doing that again, but that was it.
Yeah. So that's what I did, and it was great. There was all kinds of different people on the course as well, different ages, different styles of music, and everybody had this kind of mutual respect for each other. No genre was right or wrong. The tutor Adam Farnell was really really good and knowledgeable about all kinds of different genres and stuff, and really helpful. So it was great to be in an academic situation as well, learning about something that I love, you know, which is music, obviously. But I could do that about anything. I could go to learn about cookery or painting, or, you know, something. I could just do all that again because it was just nice being in that environment. The College of Music, I mean, you know yourself, is such an amazing environment. It really is. It's world class, and I'm so proud that we've got that in Leeds. It's great. So yeah.
Could you see yourself as a tutor? Because I know it might be, again, you were on about time and stuff, but I feel that when we've done panels at Inner City Electronic, and one of the reasons why I think that we would collab to create an amazing podcast geared towards certain sectors of music or questions or, you know, angles which we'd come up with, but you just seem to have like a real strong wealth and grasp of, like, it's beyond experience, and it lies between experience and knowledge. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're open to learning, so you don't think you know it all, but you're happy to share in a sense that, well, I'm just offering this. And I
Yeah.
think that's quite priceless, and I think you've got a good way about you with that. So is it something that
Maybe. I
you've
mean,
considered?
other people have said that to me as well. Maybe it's something I should kind of consider. Um, and maybe I just don't really feel like I'm kind of good enough for that, in a sense, because I don't feel like I'm qualified to be a teacher, you know, in that traditional sort of sense. But in terms of helping people out, or, you know, sort of mentoring people and that kind of stuff, I'm always open to that. And I kind of do that anyway with people that are in my life and around me and stuff, you know, some younger cats that go out in Leeds, some, you know, and they're in the clubs, and you know, I'm always got time for them to talk to them about music production and tunes and all that sort of stuff, you know, and give them a leg up, or give them a shout, or give them a little link up with somebody or a distributor or something like that. So I'm always open to that, but to do it in more of an academic environment, then yeah, I mean, I could see myself doing it. I did a talk at the Inner City Electronic, actually, just gone, in Leeds, and that was quite nerve-wracking. Actually, it's quite funny talking to a room of 10 people or whatever. You know, was more nerve-wracking than standing up there in front of thousands of people, you know, DJing and performing.
Because
You
everyone's
know,
locked in.
I was probably more nervous doing the talk to about 10 people than I was closing the Icon stage at Glastonbury last year, you know. So it's, you know, so it's mad, isn't it? You know, just but by the sort of second talk, I was in the flow. The first one was terrible. I was really nervous and referred to my notes all the time. Second one was, you know, much more fluent and from the heart, you know. And I think
That's the key. I think that's the key. I think I weren't able to be there this year for personal reasons and stuff. But when we were there last year, one of the things that really stood out in our chat is you were speaking from the heart, and there's such a wealth of knowledge there. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I honestly think that I think a podcast would be a good intermittent way to lead to that, because other than that, I think you're the sort of person that could have a book, but I don't know if that's more time consuming. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I would love to. But there's other things I want to write first before that. You know, I want to write songs, and I want to write music, and I want to put myself out like that. And then, you know, then I might think about writing. I wouldn't mind actually. One of the things I wanted to do for a while, actually, to write a kids book.
Mate, I'll join with that.
Yeah,
Honestly, I want to write a kid's book.
yeah. I think I mean, obviously I've had a lot of practice, you know, bedtimes with my daughter and stuff, and seeing the rapture and the joy that they brought to her, some of the things I've just plucked out the air, you know, and just made up on the spot, you know. I thought, well, if I actually sat down to write some of these and to craft them and to really, concentrate them down into the pure, essence of the story instead of a bit of waffle here and there and stuff. I think it'd be great, and it's a big market. There's a lot of people out there
It's a
that,
big market.
want
But
some
I
good
think,
books to read for the kids, and stuff with humour and wit. Look how well David Walliams has done
yeah.
comics.
Well, do you know, fair play to him and that, but he is basically just knocking off Roald Dahl. But that's not a bad thing.
Roald Dahl set the blueprint, really, but and really there should have been more than that, than David Walliams. There should have been an avalanche of people doing it because, but not everybody can do it. Not everybody has that imagination. Not everybody's observant and sees the world through certain eyes. And I think
Yeah,
David
I think
Walliams
that's
has
the key.
got that. So yeah, that's something I'd really like to do actually, and something that I might do.
Would you do you think there's a scope to accompany it with some music? I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
as well.
probably. That would be pretty cool actually to do like well, actually, one of the things that I actually started to do was I started to do an audio book, which was recording some of the stories that I was telling my daughter, just recording them as I was telling her them. So I've got a little folder in my Ableton of these audio things. So, but yeah, and I used to get like little bits of things to make sound effects and stuff, to like, so you can hear like stuff going on in the background and things to create some atmosphere. So that would be a great thing to do like that. But also an actual book. They have done it before with books with CDs and things like that, but you could do it with some kind of like a book with some online, thing where people can access the music and stuff to go along with the story or whatever. Would be great.
You've almost got the music as the template, as a soundtrack, and then as you read it to an almost pace, almost like a karaoke screen. So they know the words that are coming through, so they're reading it, and the music behind's like building up.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever listened to Mighty Boosh when they were on BBC Radio 4?
I haven't actually, but I would love to do that. I mean, I'm a huge Bush fan actually.
They a lot of what you see in the episodes, they were able to still put across in the radio just by the sound effects.
Yeah,
and it really immerses you in the world. And I really think something like that would be.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'm open to. I mean, again, as well. Also, I mean, I love collaborating with people as well. So I'd love to, be around more people that are kind of more creative on that level as well, and I could just really get involved, and it would bring it out in me as well. So it'd be great to surround myself with more people that were into that sort of things. But half of me thinks, oh gosh, where would I start? I just kind of sometimes get a bit overwhelmed by projects like that.
Well, we'll have a word after, because I've definitely been thinking of that for a long time, and I think it's
well, that would be great, mate. Yeah,
I'd like to. I want to sort of immerse the message of life through that, so that when I look back at certain books that I watched as kids, read as kids rather, or what shows I watched, and then I see the message later as I've grown up and I understand it, I'm like, wow, like,
yeah,
it really played a significant subconscious impact on how I turned out.
Yeah, you definitely want something to have like a moral to the story, and an underlying sort of little bits of wisdom and things that people could take away from the story. Like, what was one of my favourite books recently? It was that the Boy, the Horse, the Mole, and the Fox. It was just like a new book that came out. Really nice. You should check it out. It's a beautiful little book, kind of Winnie the Pooh-esque sort of book, but for adults as much as it is for kids. And really, really beautiful book. A lot of people should know about it. I think it's been one of the best sellers of this year or last year. And it's got beautiful illustrations and loads of little nuggets of wisdom. So yeah, I recommend that. The Boy, the Horse, the Mole, and the Fox.
You sure that's not a pub just down the road from you?
I know, yeah.
Second time I've used that joke. I'm gonna try and get it in rest of my chats.
Get it in, mate. Get that. Work that crowbar that one in.
I think it's one of them as well, though, where if you make it attainable for the adult to enjoy as well as the child, then there's that even more of a commonality and a bond. And then what you'll find is it'll be generational, because then when the kids are older, then they'll, as parents, want to share that.
Exactly. I think that's been obviously the success of people like Roald Dahl and David Walliams as well, and things like that with the kids section of books, is because they do adults can relate to it on that. All the characters and the scenarios and the parents who are reading the books have probably had characters like that in their lives as well. You know, so be it like Miss Trunchbull from Matilda, some strict teacher or something like that. People can relate to those amazing characters. So it's about building these beautiful characters as well as having these like layers of storyline as well that really, resonate with the generations.
Cool, man. I want to switch pace if that's okay, and just I want to get I want to get your opinion on where you think resident DJs stand at the moment, because I tend to find that there's a lot of events that I go to and I enjoy, but there's not a lot of residents at them. It seems like there's a lot of bookings for acts that I like that I go and see. And when I was sort of coming through the scene, it was almost like you went for your residents and then the act was like an addition to that, an incredible addition, but you were going because you knew what music was going to be played. And I just don't see that consistency at the moment. Maybe I'm wrong. So I'd like to put that to you and see where you think about that opinion.
Well, I definitely think, yeah. I mean, in the UK, I think that really applies. It's not really a resident sort of culture at the moment. I mean, it hasn't been for a while. I mean, Ralph Lawson just did a great piece on resident DJs on his Ralph Lawson blog. Which, if you're out there and you're interested more in the subject, then read that, because he discusses the whole thing surrounding question you just asked. Excuse me. And he also lists like pretty much all the legendary residents as well, which is a wealth of knowledge for you to delve into there and to find old mixes and learn about old clubs and scenes and things like that, where styles of music and genres were kind of born basically a lot of the time. Yes, I think it's really important to have that resident part of a party. Somebody that's tops and tails the party. Usually the guests in the middle, unless it's like a really special guest or somebody that's like a regular at the party or whatever. But I always think that it should be like the residents that should start the night and that should end the night. And having that the regular residents means that they can make and break tunes. They can set the tone. They can set the musical policy of the night, so to speak. Like if you go to Berlin and some of the clubs out there, they've got some strong residents and stuff. And then you go to Amsterdam, you've got the Slapfunk parties. They've got the Indie Vision Boys and a whole host of other Brother and a whole host of other great residents. And they are out there. There is clubs out there with really good residents, but the problem is now as well is that nobody's really doing weekly parties, and that's one of the big things why the resident isn't really getting a chance at the moment, because they're all monthlies, they're all bi-monthlies, they're all this and that, and the whole culture's kind of based around this TSV, ticket selling value sort of thing. Well, not the culture, but the promoter mindset is very much based around this resident. The resident's just going to fill the first hour and people are walking in, and then then it's up to the three guests that they've paid a fortune for to come and entertain everybody. But with weekly nights and things, you'd want somebody there, week in, week out, to be setting the tone and to be representing and to making sure that, there was, people were going to have a good night, because guests aren't always brilliant when you book them, so sometimes you really rely on the residents to kind of bring the party home. But yeah, I mean, I think they're really important. I'd love to see some more nights popping up with some more sort of solid residents.
When you've obviously played at some of the nights that you've been at and been a resident, and residents have come and gone, is that quite weird? Because I suppose it's a bit of a band of brothers and sisters, in a sense, where you must be speaking a lot, you're almost competing, but friendly competition between each other, pushing each other, getting better, and then they might go to another night, or they might just fall off. Like, how does that sort of change when someone tries to come in and that sort of transition?
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, to be honest, I've only known really basics as a sort of residency, and it's a bit weird when somebody leaves, you know, because you know you do feel like you know you are a band of brothers, a family, or whatever. But you know, people leave, other people come in, and it's nice when new blood comes in as well, you know. So it's good to have that you know, fresh energy come
Sorry to cut
into.
you. At that moment when someone fresh is coming in, is that something that's decided by yourself, the promoter? So, for example, would it be Bero, like I found someone,
Yeah,
or
it would be
do
more
you
sort
find
of.
someone and you bring them in? How does that sort of conversation
I
go?
reckon I think it's a joint thing, right? Really, you know. Usually the candidate has proved their worth and earned their stripes to be offered that position. But ultimately, yeah, it would be down to the promoter. You know, it's their party essentially, so it would be them who would sort of bestow the honour, I suppose.
And then just to wrap up, then thank you for your time as well, brother.
Oh, mate, it's been a pleasure.
Respect. Um, what are your fondest memories of basics, and you know the impact that it's made? You
Mm.
know, from the start when you were there and involved with it. Like, could you ever imagined it would have still had the life legacy that it has? And then also the importance that it's had. Like, people really like, you know, it's in there, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
people really have basics in the blood.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I first started going out in like 1994, Basics was absolutely like the nuts. It was the best party in the country, if not probably the world at the time. It was amazing. Well, it felt like that to me anyway. And so I think some of those earlier memories, I mean, I love, you know, I've got so many fond memories, but some of the ones where I was just like starry-eyed and googly faced and just like amazed by it all were, you know, some of the earlier days when I first started going to the first venue that I did where Basics was, which was called the Pleasure Rooms, which was in the Grand Arcade. And it was an amazing three-floor club, and it had, you know, different styles of music on each floor. It had actually four rooms, but three floors, and you know, it had a bar called Bar Basics, and you'd walk in there, and there'd be like Andrew Weatherall playing to about 10 people, or DJ Harvey playing to about 5 people, and you know, this is before they were the kind of demigods that they are now, sort of thing, you know. And then also on the top floor there'd be Ralph and James Holroyd and you know, holding fort up there. And then the middle floor there'd be Lee Wright, who was playing more the US sort of Masters at Work, sort of jazz and groove, Roger Sanchez's sort of stuff, which was amazing as well at the time, the UK garage and things like that. And then there was, you know, in the basement, more sort of serious, get down, gritty techno, underground resistance with sort of drum and bass and metalheads and that kind of stuff there as well. So it was just like overwhelming, you know, the amount of crazy music that was going on there. So for me, that kind of first stages of being naive and new to it all, sort of I suppose have my like the fondest memories. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see, you know, the legacy, how, you know, how the ripples that it's created, the inspiration that it's created. You know, other people have started their own nights from it. People have started record labels. People have got married from it. You know, it's been massive. You know, and yeah, it's obviously been a bit quieter the last couple of years. But you know, I'm sure it's going to, you know, it's like a boomerang. It's always going to come back. Basics, you know, and it takes a lot to keep a good man down like Biro. So you know, we're looking forward to you know, getting stuck in again. I think you know, most of it's just finding a decent venue to throw the
Mm.
parties at, and you know, just taking it back to basics. Really, that's what it needs to do now. So I think I've had a couple of chats with Dave about it, and obviously it was all going to start happening again. But obviously, due to all this, it's all kind of that sort of plan's caved in now. So it's all going to be hitting the reset button again when all this stuff is over. So we'll see, but for sure, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm itching to kind of, you know, get back and you know, start my residency again. You know, it's been too long.
And there you go, brother. You're itching, and everybody else will be itching. I'm telling you, everyone will be out. Everyone will be out. It's going to be celebrations. You get thinking of that first tune that you're going to play.
I
And
will.
we all look forward to being a part of it when you're there, brother. And we'll speak away from this and look to lock in, if not the children's story side, which I'm up for, then definitely the podcast as well.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. I mean, I love what you do, Ben. I think it's great, and you know, I'd love to collaborate more. I love your energy, and love sort of having our chats and being around you. It's great, mate, and I think we kind of rub off on each other quite nicely in a
100%.
in a nice kind of way.
Ah,
Yeah, I mean, this has been great. So thanks for having me on the show tonight.
no, thank
And
you for taking time out, man. It's been
yeah,
amazing. I knew it would be. It's been a sick chat,
yeah,
my
it's
brother.
been great. I mean, obviously, could jibber jabber for hours, but it's going to be good. I'm going to get myself a cup of tea, and I'm going to get back on with a bit of work, or I might get outside actually, but get a bit of that sun on my face, and just potter around a little bit. But I'll also stay tuned in as well for a little bit as well. I think you got the old big DM Danny Matthews on a
Yes,
bit
mate.
later as
I call him
well.
the mayor of G-Town because he's the
Yeah,
coolest. He's the soul,
yeah,
man. That
exactly.
dude's
Well,
the
I can
soul.
remember meeting Danny at Back to Basics, and I was with Gracie, my missus. She was a photographer at the time, and I looked at him. I went to Gracie. Went, he looks really cool, here, man. He looks like a cool guy. And then weeks later, went up to him at Basics. Oh, I said, oh, my missus got some good pictures of you from Basics last week, and he was like, oh, brilliant. And then we just got chatting, and we just became really good friends from there. So, you know, it's been a long time that we've been, he was obviously that was one of the things about Basics, was, without going on too long, was there was always this new blood, this new injection of energy, and Danny Matthews, you know, and the Rockaby crew at the one point were with the fresh new blood, and that was what gave Basics, you know, another spin, you know, around the sun really with it. But it was great, yeah. So I look forward to hearing all about that, and yeah, just keep me posted on any future projects, mate. You know, I'm always there.
Respect. You stay safe and cool. Big up to your family as well, brother. And thank you
Thanks,
for your
mate.
time again, man. Respect.
Big love. Beep.
Peace out, man.
Peace. Bye.
So yeah, that was Tristan Da Cunha, and that was a cool chat. Obviously, I wanted to go off the angle with that chat, see how I was getting through this time. Just being a DJ with the club sort of closing, see how we were getting by. But also wanted to delve into a bit more of his like other interest, which was cool to hear that he wants to write a children's book. I definitely think there'd be scope to collab with him on that. So yeah, man, that was Tris. I'm going to be posting that up. All the chats, actually, what I'm going to be doing. Tell you what, mate, Instagram Live, have a word. You can't just download it straight away. You've got to, honestly, it is a minefield about how to download these videos, but I found a way. If anyone wants to copy any of their Instagram Live stories, hit me up and I'll DM you how to do it, because it's a fucking mission, mate. But anyway, I've managed to work it out. So I'll get these uploaded to YouTube. I'll be sharing all the links out so you can check any of the previous chats as well. But that one was with Tristan Da Cunha. And next up, we've got, I believe we're going to be chatting to, yes, my boy, Harry George Johns. He is the brain behind the street food Holy Mountain and also Holy Ramen, which is in assembly in Leeds. He's an all-around cool guy, safe. He's a beauty musician, but he's a safe brother. Honestly, it'll be really, really cool vibes. That's what we're looking to do with Loose Lips. Help you all escape what we're currently going through and share good, positive vibes to help you escape what we're in and just, yeah, take your mind away. So I'm Ben Random. Thank you for checking in, everybody, and join us after for Harry. Peace. Oh, Sophia, I can see you trying to add me. I'm